What's up, everybody? So today went okay. Learned a lot about the Shinto way of the the Nihonjin culture. Learned a little bit. Went into the shrines, the temples, and kind of understood a little bit more about many different things, but mainly the way of Nihonjin and the gravitation towards Shinto and then Buddhism and the different, for lack of a better term, denominations that come out of that. But it's like a dead hope, to be honest, where you have nothing else to hold on to, so you hold on to that. One of the pictures that I was looking at that talked about the 7 lucky gods, it was a picture with many different Asian looking men symbolizing the gods, the 7 lucky gods, in a boat, and they're like traversing the waters. And it looks sad to me, to be honest. It looked like they're trying to find land. They're trying to find something for themselves that they haven't found yet. And the people that are worshiping them are just continuing to have hope in them to give them life and prosperity and etc., etc. But the gods themselves are looking for the same thing. And so I understand it already as I'm a rabbi. I understand the way of the Most High Creator, and I know that for a fact. But you can't just project that on people that wherever they, in whatever position or whatever mindset they're in, that your Creator or your God that you serve is the Most High Creator above all gods. But I did explain it just like that, as far as the gods and the way the pictures looked and things like that. And it's just true, at some point she was just kind of like, it was kind of difficult to for her to explain some of the parts that of Shinto, like about the dead, like you want the dead to come back and visit you, you would put the cucumber up there in the shape of a cow, and you want them to come and visit you quickly. And the eggplant is in the shape of, I forgot what she said, and you want them to leave slowly, But then it's like, why do you use a cucumber and why do you use an eggplant and why are you putting them in shapes and stuff like that? Excuse me. What is the point? It just seems silly. It seems very silly, and anybody with a mind can tell that it's silly, but probably would never speak against it because it probably would be taboo or forbidden type of thing to speak against it. But me being a scholar in matters of religio, which is man-made religious beliefs, it was like a man-made worship or whatever the case. Like, you want to create a god, and so you made a rule system and a law system to it, and people follow it. It's religio, something that man made. The reason why I always claim that the Most High Creator that I serve is the true one is because it's not a law system from us. The Creator, with thunder and lightning, struck down and wrote the commandments and wrote the instructions, the 10 words or the 10 instructions for us, and used the faithful messenger, as we all know, Moses in the English, but Masha. He used Masha to relay the rest of the information that he wanted mankind to follow in the planet. And basically, we were at that point in occupation to be the delivery nation, or the delivery men and the delivery women of the planet, as to say, whatever the Creator want to do or whatever he want to say, whatever he's trying to do in the planet, he would use us to bring it forth, whether it was to save someone, to bring destruction upon somebody, to send warning to someone, heal someone, salvation, whatever it was that the Creator wanted to bring upon the people or the humans or mankind in this planet. He used the nation of Israel, the bloodline Israelites who are brown like me and darker, not to be mistaken with Africans. So he would use us for that. But because our ancestors messed up and became rebellious, he threw us into captivity, into slavery. And that's where we are to this day. And if anybody decides to turn back to the Most High Father, they would be no longer deemed as a slave or whatever, So just to share a little bit about that, it just seemed like there was a cringe about a lot of parts of it, and it was pretty much based more on just money and materialistic benefit. Like, you want to either eat, you want to either have a place to stay and sleep, you want financial stability, all surrounded around materialistic or physical gains and maintenance. You don't want to be out there homeless, poor on the street, struggling to make ends meet. And that's all it seemed like it stems around. Anything a man can make and make somebody bow down to it, you already know that's not correct. Because then you might as well worship the hands that built whatever it is that's built for you to bow before it. It's just crazy. It's crazy. But it was one thing that stood out that she said in the tour was about how Shinto is, at its core, they believe that there is a spirit in everything, or whatever the case. Even if you just make a chair that is immobile, spirit is in it. That's pretty much like spirits and ghosts, demons, all different kinds of metaphysical hosts are going astray or wandering, and they're looking for places to dwell within or homes to dwell within. Normally they use people, but they can also use objects to dwell within, like trees, statues, this, that. They can dwell within forests. They need a place to dwell. Spirits, they might share a living space with the spirits of the trees that already naturally within themselves live within the tree, but they might have room, like, oh, I have space in my branches, or I have space in my vines for this spirit to dwell with me, like a guest. So that's pretty much how that works on the metaphysical side of things. So yeah, there can be an attachment to spirits with objects, especially when you can put sacredness to something or meaning to something while you built it. Like, you built the chair, not necessarily for you to worship the chair, but the chair is a special chair made for someone special, and they were such a good person, and this and this and this, and their whole life story about this chair. You would not want to cross a line and do harm to the chair or touch it or sit on it yourself, because the person who the chair attaches to, or the reason why the chair was made, is such a sacred reason behind it. Physical manifestations of power or things could happen to you for touching it, from something from heaven, something from hell, or just a physical person could do something to you. So reactions come when you cross lines of disrespect on sacred things, or whatever the case. Now, there is a line where you also have to be understanding and respectful to gods too. It's not that you worship other gods, but you do give them reverence. You give them obeisance. Or what is it? Yeah, obeisance, I believe that's the word. Meaning you just respect them, like a bow of respect that you're passing through, or it's not that you're worshiping them. You just kind of like making your presence known, they communicate with you, and you know, if you serve the true creator, they'll even look towards you like, wow, I'm glad someone is here that even served the Most High, that I can get life from this person. Instead of me worshiping them, they'll worship the Most High creator through me and look for a way of salvation for themselves, or they'll send to me people that don't belong to them, that they may get salvation for themselves, and those that belong to them they'll keep. So it's like a card game, like, okay, this Pokemon card belongs to me, that Pokemon card belongs to you, type of thing, and it's like, that's the type of thing that it is, or whatever the case. It makes more sense that gods would dwell within human bodies that live and breathe and can do something, and only are here for a temporal time, and then they go back to their heavenly abode. That makes way more sense than making a statue or making objects to worship. Someone could be great, but it doesn't mean that you worship that great person. Women, on the other hand, can find themselves in worship towards men, which is okay, as long as that man himself is serving the true creator for himself, because he's just a man, or was just a man at one point. He did not run or rule his whole life. Something above him also guided him and orchestrated the things that he did and said. He was a puppet himself. But it's just, you want to make sure that the marionette or the puppet master, that the person you're following, for the women, is the Most High creator, because the hierarchy structure is very severe and dangerous for women too. They have to trust men that serve real power. So the structure is the Most High Father, the Savior, who is the sacrifice for us in our ignorance to get to the Most High Father until we become qualified to not need to go through him anymore. So it's the Father, the sacrifice of the elder brother, which is the Savior, the King of Kings, and then it's men, and then it's women under the men, and then under the women are children. So the women are relying on the men, and the men are relying on the Savior to condition them to the point where they can, without him, go to the Most High Father, so that the men can go to the Most High Father as Rabim, and bam, he can da-da-da-da-da. But that's the normal hierarchical structure since the world has fallen into a dark age of demonism. You need that support system to kind of shelter you and shield you while you're trying to learn and while you're trying to seek for the path of life, things like that. Testing ground. So yeah, the Shinto, it does make sense to a degree as far as how sacredness can be put to many different objects, and things can happen to you if you transgress certain lines. But they more specifically believe that a dead object has life within it. You might can channel life through, or energy through any kind of object, like a cell phone. It's a dead object until you put energy into it, and then energy can transfer through it, and it can be used as a form of transferring life, like me communicating life to you now through a dead object that can't do anything. Like a chair, you can turn that into an advanced technological thing or scientific type of thing to where it can do something. This chair can move and rotate and adjust itself. It can stand up and walk. It can turn into a transformer and start doing all kind of stuff. You can invent things in a way to where energy can pass through it and it can seem to have a form of life, but it's still dead. It's not something to worship because it doesn't have actual life. But I understand the concept. It just looked like science to me. Anything can be manipulated with energy, can have energy put into it and be manipulated. Cars, trucks, phones, this, that, a chair, anything. So it just makes sense like that. That's what it looked like to me. All right. And I I just wanted to end it off and say that. And that was my day. Tomorrow is another day. I got a interview at, what is it called again? Asia Jobs in Tokyo, deeper in Tokyo. I'm like in Oda City of Tokyo, but it's like in the middle of Tokyo. And I gotta catch the train, the subway out there. So I'm gonna see how that works. I hope I don't get lost. The appointment is at 12. Man, I hope the job is proficient. I hope that if I get the job, I can be able to get the visa and things like that. So that, because I don't normally, is like I don't know what's first. Like if I apply for a job, they ask me for the visa, but if I apply for the visa, they ask me for the job. So what comes first, the job or the visa? I don't really know. So I'll go and ask information like that, if they're, oh, do you have your visa? I'm like, what, the work visa? Like, yeah. I'm like, well, I thought that, I had to get a job first before I get a visa, or get a job offer before I get a visa. And I'm not sure how the process works. So hopefully they're patient with me. My Nihonjin is not good. I'm still learning. So it's like, I'm just winging it a little bit. I hope it's not nothing crazy the way I gotta, I don't know what's going on. So, I don't know. So we'll see tomorrow. I'll probably put that on video too, me going and blah, blah, blah. So shalom, shalom.